It's a struggle working parents already know about, the lack of available childcare. Now there's new numbers from an advocacy group showing just how much the need for daycares outpaces the number of daycares that exist. As KLTV7's JD Connie found out, the issue hits hard right here in East Texas.
East Texas has one of the highest concentrations of child care deserts in the state.
Texas is growing fast, but the child care system is still catching up.
Even though the number of overall seats have really stayed relatively stable, the number of children who need child care is growing much faster.
Children at Risk advocates for policy changes in child care. They say Texas has nearly 995,000 child care seats, available slots for a child, an increase of about 3,000 from last year. But that growth isn't enough. The number of children with working parents increased by 20,000 over the same time.
There are whole towns in our areas that have either no center or a very small private center that doesn't accept subsidy. Many families are traveling 15 to 30 minutes away from their home or place of work just to find care for their children.
Dakota Finney is on the board for Champions for Children in Tyler. She says East Texas is no stranger to this issue. Statewide, there are 413 zip codes considered child care deserts. That's when demand is 3 or more times the supply. In East Texas, there's 42 such zip codes. Finney says one of their biggest issues is staffing.
Many other industries offer a much higher wage, starting wage, with very little training and requirements on the employee's behalf. As you know, we want to put well-qualified teachers in our centers and our classrooms.
Advocates say change is needed in workforce readiness, and more state funding can always help.
The problem is even greater than it seems because there's not enough staffing to even serve the number of empty seats that we actually have.
JD Conti, KLTV7 News.
Turns out 64% of child care deserts across the state that JD mentioned have been there for 3 years or more.